In this video, I'll show you how to integrate Swagger. I hope you would have seen this blog on the skeleton of the REST API server. So I have used this skeleton, and on that, I'll show you how to enable, how to provide the Swagger support here. So first, you need to add these to the dependencies in the Gradle dependencies. So I have done it here. If you go in build.gradle, you will see these two dependencies out here. So these are from SpringFox, and they provide the support for the Swagger basically provide the support for your REST API documentation. Then make a config file which will basically initialize your whole Swagger configuration ecosystem. So I have put it here in the Swagger config. There is this configuration and enable Swagger to these two annotations. This configuration comes from Spring, and the enable Swagger 2 comes from the SpringFox. And then initialize this as a bean, and then there is this standard things. There are more variation to that one, but right now I just put a uh, uh, simplistic configuration out here, and it will look into our base package, which is com rms rest. Once this is done here, you need to start the server. So I can start the server here. This is the boot run command, which basically hosts this application on a Tomcat. So let's wait for a second for it to come up. Okay, and so once it will come up, then what we'll do is that we'll see that how we can see the details of the REST API through our browser. This support, of course, that comes from this SpringFox Swagger support. Okay, so it's coming up. Should be there any second now. Okay. Yeah, Tomcat started on port 8080. So what we need to do, because it's a REST-based API server, we don't have a UI through which we can interact with this one. If you have an UI, then you can log in, and based on the URL, you can actually run that one. But right now, as we don't have an UI, so what we'll do is that we will actually do a login using the Postman. I have so in the Postman, do a post to this one, and you send this email and password, which is the default for the skeleton. And when you send this one, it basically comes back with a header, RMS authorization header. Copy this bearer token and go to your browser. So what we'll do, we'll go to a new page of the browser, and I've already integrated this modify header plugin. You can figure out similar plugin, but this worked for me. You can add a new configuration from here, and once you added here, I have added this RMS authorization and copy the bearer token here. So RMS authorization, copy the bearer token here, and then in the URL pattern just filter it out, so otherwise it will start going through all your URLs which you may not want to. Once I have this one, then take this URL and hit the server. So now you see the REST APIs that we have defined are now basically they show up here. You can see the detail. There is a post and there is a get, and on the get it will tell you an example what kind of response it will be, and we can try it out. So right now there is one record out here. So this is the response body that has come, the response headers, and yeah. So it's actually a very convenient way of uh, looking into the REST API documentation. It's also pretty clean and neat. So it should help you in whenever you are dealing with REST APIs. Uh, I think it's always very good to integrate your Swagger as one of the first things, and then you can use it. It is also a good tool in terms of like to communicate with the other groups, for example, your front end team, or even for like if you have external facing APIs, you can actually share it with your product management and the senior management who can look into this list, and as it shows the request and response details also, they can actually verify that the things are coming up or things are being put in place as per the expectations. Okay, so hopefully this should help you out, and we'll stop in this video here. Thanks.